Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Strauss, and welcome to my Health and Innovation presentation on virtual reality at Toronto General Hospital and the University Health Network. Virtual reality is a three-dimensional computer-generated environment that can be interacted with. Typically, users wear a head-mounted display to bring them into the virtual world. However, in healthcare, there are instances where large screens create a whole-body, fully immersive experience, which I will show you very shortly. But first, I would like you to see exactly what virtual reality looks like in a healthcare application. The most common way to experience virtual reality is a head-mounted display, as seen here. The benefits of head-mounted displays include head tracking, where sensors in the device track head movements and correspond them in the virtual world. Object interaction, where remote controls can be used to manipulate virtual objects. And finally, head-mounted displays are relatively small and can be used in a variety of settings. In contrast, whole body, fully immersive virtual reality involves large, expensive hardware. It has the unique benefits of being device free, where the patient is more unrestricted and unencumbered to experience the virtual world. It also provides a more realistic and surrounding audio soundscape. There are three advantages of virtual reality at the University Health Network. The first is training, where caregivers can practice high risk situations that are too dangerous to practice in the real world. For example, a caregiver can practice situations providing care for a person with dementia and dangerous response behaviors, without any risk to themselves or the person with dementia. The second advantage is research, where virtual reality is used as a unique tool for data gathering. An example of this occurs in the study between vection and glaucoma. Vection is that sensation when you are still, but everything in your field of view is moving, and so you feel like you are moving too. Vection is known to be diminished or missing in glaucoma patients, and so virtual reality is being used to gather the data that will lead to earlier detection of glaucoma before the disease gets a chance to develop. The third advantage is treatment and rehabilitation, where repetitive practicing of tasks in a virtual environment can be used to restore an impairment. This image shows an exercise where a patient with poor peripheral vision follows bouncing balls and identifies when their colors change. The balls bounce near their peripheral, and this stimulates certain areas of the brain, which compensate for the losses experienced in other areas. The result is an improved visual field. Really quickly, I just want to mention two derivative advantages of virtual reality in healthcare. One is cost savings from a reduction in clinical errors, and the second is elevated patient care from a superior trained staff. Virtual reality does have some disadvantages. It is expensive. The units can be expensive, the computers that run the virtual environments are expensive, and there are software costs, IT costs, and staff training costs. Additionally, some users find virtual reality disorientating, causing them vertigo or nausea. Thus, not all clinical staff will be able to take part in virtual reality training. Not all subjects will be able to take part in virtual reality research, and not all patients will be able to use virtual reality for rehabilitation. Another disadvantage is that the realized benefits of virtual reality can be somewhat unknown, as it is a relatively new and experimental technology in healthcare. Lastly, virtual reality lacks the tactile response feedback that comes from real-world interaction. Virtual reality gloves with tactile feedback do exist, but virtual reality is mostly intended as a supplement to real-world training. Likewise, the pressures and anxieties of a real-world, high-risk situation cannot be experienced fully in a virtual environment. Next, I would like to discuss StreetLab, a multi-sensory, whole-body, fully immersive virtual reality laboratory at the Kite Research Institute at the University Health Network. StreetLab can test and analyze cognitive, motor, sensory, and auditory abilities using complex situations in a virtual environment. This incredible lab can help develop new screening tools, conduct interventions in the fields of mobility and the senses, and be used to test future real-world designs virtually to ensure their benefits. Streetlab uses 6 high-resolution LED projectors on curved screens. The screens are sound permeable, so the 7 speakers residing behind them provide a 360-degree-like soundscape. Unity software is used to create unique virtual environments that are tailored to specific experiments. Once inside, participants interact with the virtual environment using a treadmill, remote controls, a manual or powered wheelchair, or using a force plate, which is a platform that measures biomechanical movements such as balance. And now I would like to show you a quick video of Streetlab in action.
Hi, I'm Anna, and today I'll be your host. As we get older, we have trouble hearing and seeing or doing two things at once. This makes navigating our environment really tricky. So, we are working really hard to understand how to keep people active and mobile at home and in their community. Welcome to Streetlab. Come, please join me. Oh my goodness, this looks just like the streets of Toronto. In Streetlab, the scenery is so lifelike. There's sounds all around me, like cars whizzing, birds in the trees, and people talking. The treadmill makes it feel like you're really walking through the streets of Toronto. Well, it was nice meeting you today, but I'm off to see my friends at 20 Rehab. Bye!
So, what is Streetlab used for? The data gathered from Streetlab is used to provide insight into sensory or cognitive decline. People experiencing these declines frequently have challenges with multitasking, which can have negative outcomes to their mobility. For example, people with hearing loss often exert additional cognitive resources by using more effort to hear, and this can bring impairment in other areas. Streetlab can, for example, place someone in a loud, busy virtual environment and study their balance or walking ability. I have 3 recommendations for implementing head-mounted virtual reality into a facility similar to Toronto General Hospital. First, you'll need a big budget. There are costs for the devices themselves, software subscriptions, device maintenance infrastructure, training, and virtual environment developers called virtualists. Additionally, budget must be set aside to treat any staff or patients who have experienced adverse effects from virtual reality, like nausea. Secondly, all this hardware takes space to house, manage, and charge, so ample space in the facility must be procured. And thirdly, the facility must develop procedures and alternatives for staff or patients who cannot benefit from virtual reality. For example, some staff may not possess the dexterity or coordination to train using remote controls in a virtual environment. The University Health Network shows awareness and mindset in global citizenship through many initiatives. I would like to focus on one, an oncology nursing education program in Qatar. The National Center for Cancer Control and Research in Qatar needed an improvement to their specialized oncology nursing staff. UHN conducted a needs assessment, studied educational requirements, and developed 2 training courses for the oncology nursing staff. The program resulted in over 200 staff trained, 22,000 hours of education provided, and 18 educators trained to deliver the program in the future without the help of UHN. 100% of program participants report that the training has impacted their clinical practices. Thank you for joining me in my presentation today. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.